Okay, so now we've got this all set up in here. I can take a look at our 3D view. Um, our levels are in, all of this stuff is coming together. Now what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to copy in the structural elements that are relevant. Um, so rather than having to sit and model everything, we can save ourselves a ton of time and just copy in the structural elements that are relevant. So I could come in and um, let's see, I want to look at this. I want to turn off the architectural one, and I can see all of these concrete elements that I want to be able to copy in, right? So theoretically, I could come in and I could, I can't say draw these things and then just select the concrete elements. But theoretically, I could come in and I could kind of select these things one by one and everything like that. But if I'm being honest, it's a really inefficient approach to being able to do that. And so what I actually want to do is I want to I want to open up the structural model, um, which again, I'll find here, this Modera University Park design team models, and I want to open up the structural model. Now, hopefully this shouldn't take too long to open. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this structural model and I'm going to select every single element that is concrete, and I'm going to make it as easy on myself as possible to do that. So let's see here. Let's set up a structural plan level 1, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, let's let's do all these sorts of things. Um, And then I also want to come in and I want to open up a 3D view in here. Okay, great. Now in here, first thing, because I always hate seeing them, I hate scope boxes. Actually, you know what we should do first is we should make sure everything is on except for scope boxes. Same for model categories. I'm just gonna select all, and then if I select all and I check any of these boxes twice to everything's going to be turned on. So I don't want to see scope boxes. So that's something I don't want to see. I don't want to see any analytical model categories. I don't want to see any of these imported categories. I don't want to see any Revit links. Uh, yeah, anything like that is fine. Okay, so let's just click OK. All right, cool. Now, what we can do is we can say we want to hide every single little model element that is not how do you say it, like, is not concrete. Okay, so this concrete floor, for example, I can come in here and I can look at this edit type, pull this over here. I can say the structure, and I can see that the material is concrete cast in place. Okay. Um, so what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to hide anything that might be wood, right? It looks like these are our wood framing. Let's see here. We can see, does it tell us the material? Oh, it says here the structural materials, softwood lumber. Um, we have what are called CMU, which is these concrete masonry units, which are those kind of like concrete blocks. We don't want to see that stuff. This is a CMU wall and everything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some filters here. And let's edit new. Okay. So let's say element structural, oops, element structural material contains CMU. Okay. And we want to come in and we'll say, let's say we care about, sorry, drop my headphones. Let's say we want to talk about floors, I believe. We want to talk about floors and make sure we also include slab edges, though I don't think those are actually going to be in here. I don't think we want to do generic models, but we do want to do, All right, structural columns, connections, foundations, framing, um, maybe rebar, not sure, but walls definitely. I think that might be it for now. Okay. And let's say, oh, it won't let us select the materials. Okay. So what that means is, okay, here's another way we can do this. Let's check none. And let's go to floors again and slab edges. Here, we should be able to find the structural material. Okay. So now if we come into slab edges, it's going to say, oh, the selection of categories requires the filter criteria to be reset. Do you wish to continue? The reason is that slab edges, at least in this model, don't have a structural material assigned to them. So let's just go ahead and say, if I say yes, it's going to deselect that and I can't find structural material. So let's go ahead and put structural material back in. And then let's only select things that don't give us that error. So if I try generic models, so it gives me that error, so I'm just going to say no, right? Then let's say, okay, specialty equipment. Nope, okay, we don't want that, but columns will. Connections, no, connections don't want that. Foundations will. Framing, I assume area reinforcement, no. Beam systems, nope. Rebar, nope, okay. Trusses, nope. All right, most of these things probably are going to be. This is probably all we're gonna have in here. So structural material equals. Let's see here. Concrete masonry units. Okay, and let's make this an or. I think this one's only going to have a single, but okay. So this is going to be for CMU. All right, and I'm going to say contains, let's just say metal, right? Any type of metal. So this is going to be something like metal cold form, and then we're going to add a rule that says structural material equals metal steel, structural material equals metal deck. I believe that there's some others here. Structural material equals steel ASTM A500. Structural material equals steel ASTM A92. Are there any other ones here? We got these metal ones, we got these steel ones. I think that's going to be it. Okay, so we can do that. And we can, again, take this, let's click away just so that makes sure it keeps all the information. And then structural material contains wood. So I'm just going to go ahead and select. By the way, we said or on any of these because if we said and, right, it's trying to say structural material has all of these different things all at the same time, which is impossible. So it could be any one of these. This way, we just don't have to create, 20 different filters. We only have to create 3. So wood stud layer, softwood lumber. There's that wood one. Are there any other ones? I think that's going to be it. So we'll just delete these last 2. And then the last one that I want to add is I saw in here something that said precast concrete. And I typically don't want precast concrete, but I'm also not sure what they're calling precast concrete in here. So structural material equals concrete precast. And then I'm going to delete all of the other things here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add all of these. And then I want to, I'm going to turn off all of these other ones and look at that, all turned off. Now, why didn't these ones turned off? Okay, these are structural beam systems. I think we don't care about structural beam systems in general. Oh, and it looked like it didn't like this one that had the structural. Okay, so the structural deck is this by category thing. Let's not worry ourselves about this stuff too much because there is a pretty hard cutoff here. But you know what? Let's actually, there's another way we can actually do this as well, is we can say structural material contains metal. If we edit this one and we add one more, actually, let's make sure we knew this one. 3-inch lightweight concrete on 2-inch metal deck. So it's not exactly following the rule correctly, or the rule precisely the way that I said it. So do as I say, not as I do. But I'm going to add an extra rule in here that says the type name instead of the material equals this, 2-inch. Actually, how about we say this? Let's just say contains metal deck. All right. Okay. Hopefully that will turn that off now. Turns that one off. And then these are all beam systems in here, and they're referencing basically beams that we've hidden. So yeah, what is that then? What is this? There's something else here. That's some sort of floor that's a sheathing, and we don't want to see that either. But my guess is that they haven't put a. Oh, and it says the material should be wood. So did we miss something here? Yeah, it says structural material equals wood, but for some reason it's not liking that. So let's just get it to work. Type name equals 3/4 inch sheathing, 3/4 inch floor sheathing. Okay, and now we can see that that's hidden. At least the ones at the upper levels don't matter that much. Okay, we got something sticking all the way up here. Seems like a strange concrete wall to be sticking all the way up there. My guess is that they actually want it to attach right there. Okay, that looks like it makes the most sense. Okay, and then let's also just go into our visibility graphics here and turn off structural beam systems. We don't want to see them, and they're not really providing any value, and you can see now they're not in the way. Okay, so you can see in here now, look, we've got this entire concrete model, and we don't have to sit here and spend time modeling walls and doors and foundations and all of these sorts of things. So here's the approach that we're going to take to this. First thing is, on this level 1 view, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add these filters in here as well. They don't matter that much, but I just want to have them in here. Oh, and we did want to see, we wanted to turn all of these things off as well. But then I also want to set my view range like to be unlimited, the bottom to be unlimited, so that we can see everything potentially in here. The one thing I do want to see in here, oops, that's the wrong one, is I want to see these structural materials contains precast concrete. And so this might be kind of interesting. So let's see if we can change the pattern of them to be red. I don't know. Okay, so it's not anything we can see here. Let's add a section box and let's try this level by level because that'll give us the easiest. Right. I don't actually see anything in here that says it's precast concrete, right? So it's kind of strange that it's in there. And what I wonder about is what are the elements that are actually modeled with that? And let's maybe just turn it off and see if anything changes. No, I don't see any changes there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this down so that I don't see those elements at above. I could go through and try and get them turned off and everything like that, but to a certain extent, it really doesn't matter. And what we have is what we can see here is what we, kind of what's most important. Okay, so now that we have this in place, What I want to be able to do, and oop, I'm going to turn off those. Oh, they were already turned off. Okay. So the approach that I'm going to take with this is I'm going to select all of these elements, but then I'm going to go to the level 1 view in this view, right? And that's when I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to, in our new model, I'm going to paste these new elements in. So check this out. I'm going to select all of these. And let's just make sure we go ahead and deselect levels because that's something we don't want to copy in, and that's fine, I think. I guess we'll find out soon enough. We'll take this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Shift Tab, right? Or Control Shift Tab, excuse me, and go back to this view here. And I don't think I need any of these other elements or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say Control C. And now I'm going to go back to my view into level 1. I want to, just for the time being, just to know that everything got pasted in, I'm going to take this and I'm going to say Modify, Paste Aligned to Current View. It's fine. It says cannot create opening. Okay, lots of these can't place inserts outside of hosts. Some college apart from graphic column schedule, all of that's fine. Okay, attached structural foundation will be moved to the bottom of the column. This is something we're going to need to look out for. We need to make sure, usually what will happen is the structural foundations, if they're near a column, will attach themselves to it. So we need to make sure that it didn't accidentally move some elevation. So something we'll have to think about in the future. So it looks like there were a bunch of structural foundations. And then this is just saying some columns in the graphic column schedule exceed the segment's upper and lower bounds. You can add levels, blah, 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 or just a few parameters. All this is fine. So let's just say do this. Now if we come in, and let's turn our links off. All right, that's looking good. Look at that. Now we've got all this in here. Now it's not necessarily modeled exactly the way we want it, but at least it's almost there. We can see our structural foundations are there, everything like that. And what we're going to have to do, considering that we had those errors, is we're going to have to go through and make sure that we're going to have to kind of constantly compare things to the structural model. I did notice, and I realized that I forgot to turn this off, is that there are a bunch of these little slabs on grade along this side here that we don't really want to see. So let's go ahead and take these, because what these are, they're concrete, but they're sitting on top of those CMU walls, so they're really not going to be part of our, at least I don't believe anyway. We can always copy them back in, but I don't believe that they're going to be part of our scope. I'm just going to delete them. All right, now look at that. A lot easier than drawing in these columns one by one, or these walls one by one and everything like that. But we do want to just kind of make sure we go back through. Let's turn our structure model back on, make sure things generally look correct. And the hardest part is trying to, if we say underlay and halftone, now what we can do is we can see these things a little bit easier. Okay, look at that, coming together. And from here, we might be able, you can see, say at this foundation here, right? I can see under here as I move this along that there's a column right there that's underlay because I can see the gray lines. And I can also see that the foundation is in the right spot. So we're going to have to look for some of those places as we go along, but it's something we'll do on area by area or like type by type, because it's just going to be a little bit too difficult to try and manage the entire thing right now. And we probably won't get it right. All right, cool. Well, in the next video, we'll be working on getting some of these things set up and knowing exactly what we want to look at. But we can also see that with these columns or with these walls, that they are already they've got the parameters that we want, and they look like they're doing generally the things that we want. All right.